the way that immigration has been handled in this country has resulted in downward pressure on wages. I've worked on multi-million-dollar homes that are in Agricultural Digest, and I've made $16 an hour building those homes. And that's because of the downward pressure of having people that are desperate, that are willing to enter the country at any means possible, and have been allowed to do so. And because of that challenge, there are people that are priced out of their communities. There are people where their communities have completely changed within less than one generation, demographically. And to ignore those experiences and to deny those very real experiences and to claim that it is for the greater good is ignorant. I don't like what's happening on either side, and I empathize with and I hear voices in tribal communities that say that no one's illegal on stolen land. We need to think about what the greater population will accept. And the extremism that we're seeing is a result of long-term past practices that haven't helped our communities. And this is why people are as angry and as frustrated as they are right now. And having these dialogues in a reasonable way and going to speak with people that you perceive as in opposition will oftentimes give you answers and perspectives as to why things are being handled the way that they are. Hey, good morning. It's time for Legendary Excellence. Hope y'all are winning today. I'm on a road pull off on my way to Sunigleska University, and I'm having a really great day. I think I slept 9 hours last night in the van, which is just primo. I love that. It feels so good to sleep well. Wanted to show a little bit about what it's like. So I'm on a campaign. I'm running for office. I also have a company where we're involved in workforce and economic development, and we're continuing our journey to build the infrastructure for what we're creating with the Dakota Bridge Cooperative. Today, it's a beautiful place. I just want to show you. I really like how it's just quiet. I wish I had time to just sit here and draw and paint and just be here. And it's one of those areas in life where you make a decision and you decide what you're doing, and it gives you this experience, and you have to make decisions. You have to make decisions about investments of time, of money, of resources, of everything. And I know this is the right decision. I know this is the right path. It's amusing to me because it's, as you go through life, you learn things and you build things, and it continues to grow. And this is where I'm supposed to be. This is where God wants me to be. And it's a lot of fun. As I slept last night, I was thinking a lot about different concepts, and I sent out a concept pitch to be able to help address decision making about complex projects within regions. That was really fun. I was sitting there just praying and meditating, and the idea popped in my head, and I'm like, okay, I know the person to send that to, so we'll find out if that's something that resonated or not. We live in this society where there's so many complex challenges, and so being able to clearly define what the problem is and what the solution is an area that's very helpful, very powerful for us. So it's something that I'm always thinking about, always working on, and I pray that what I sent over is beneficial and helps us in a significant way. Today I'll be at Sunigleska University. That's a tribal school located in the Rosebud Reservation in West River, South Dakota, Southwest River. I'm really looking forward to visit there. I've got friends there, and then just to be able to learn. I really always endeavor to practice deep listening, to really understand what opportunities exist, what challenges we're working on, and how we can build forward. And that deep listening part's critical. I am at a juncture where there's different pathways in what's being built, and I had a great meeting this week with two mentors who I have a vision about how to do it, and I don't know that I can accomplish it in the framework and time frame that they're asking for to completely do what they're doing. And I think about it sometimes as like we get these ideas of what needs to happen and we build concurrently. So we identify, a core value, a core need, maybe the project's starting in this summer. And then we have the desire to be able to get the voices of everybody involved. And sometimes I think that we can blend the visions and then build and build and build as we go. And it's challenging because there's so many stakeholders and so many people involved of how to successfully navigate that. And it's what I'm here for. It's what I like doing. And it is something that I'm good at. So we'll get it figured out. But it is something that, as I'm going to sleep, I'm thinking about it. And it's something that's important. Prayer's been very powerful lately. One of my buddies, Lucas, who's in these videos sometimes, he likes to preach a lot, and he really has the Holy Spirit. And there's been a lot recently where I'm working to decide asset allocation. And where do I invest this and where do I invest that? And it's hard because I had a cushion. I had a really huge cushion, and now I don't have a cushion the way I used to. And I've chosen this, and I'm happy about this, and it's the right choice, 100%. Going from having a substantial cushion to no cushion is not as easy, and it's led to a lot of sleepless nights. It's an investment. It's a critical investment. And it's very humbling when I go through that because it gives me these eyes to be able to see in a way I wouldn't see otherwise. And that's a lot of fun. Really happy today. I'm really grateful today. I keep thinking about Romans 12:21, where it's overcome evil with good. And that clear direction, that clear pathway is so helpful when dealing with challenges of the world, where, if you're dealing with difficult people, if you're dealing with difficult situations, how do you overcome evil? And it's you overcome it with good. I see people, and I have friends that are really caught up in a lot of the conflict right now, and I don't have judgment either way on it. I often wonder about the power of dialogue, of really understanding what both sides have as concerns, because there's very real, very valid concerns that are working to be addressed on both sides. And the frisson of conflict it can create a peace only through a detente. It can't create a real peace. And I challenge people on both sides of these conflicts to really sit down with people that you're in opposition to, that you don't understand why they believe what they believe, and sit down with them and have the conversation about why do you believe what you believe. I'm more conservative. I'm going to tell you that the way, and I've worked construction, the way that immigration has been handled in this country has resulted in downward pressure on wages. And I've worked on multi-million-dollar homes that are in Agricultural Digest, and I've made $16 an hour building those homes. And that's because of the downward pressure of having people that are desperate, that are willing to enter the country at any means possible, and have been allowed to do so. And because of that challenge. And there are people that are priced out of their communities. There are people where their communities have completely changed within less than one generation, demographically. And to ignore those experiences and to deny those very real experiences and to claim that it is for the greater good is ignorant. I don't like what's happening on either side. I haven't liked what's happening since 1994. And there had been in California a proposition that was turned over by a judge that fundamentally changed how the United States handled immigration and how California handled immigration. And I empathize with, and I hear voices in tribal communities that say that no one's illegal on stolen land. And I think that that's a fair perspective for people coming from those spaces. And I'm not trying to knock you down necessarily, but we need to think about what the greater population will accept. And the extremism that we're seeing is a result of long-term past practices that haven't helped our communities. And this is why people are as angry and as frustrated as they are right now. And having these dialogues in a reasonable way and going to speak with people that you perceive as in opposition will oftentimes give you answers and perspectives as to why things are being handled the way that they are. It is difficult when people have perspectives that you don't agree with. It's frustrating. And I see people, and I've got good friends on all sides of these issues, and I see the arguments on Facebook and on social media, and it seems to me that we're probably not changing minds by sniping back and forth on Facebook. I don't know that we're substantially changing things through conflict. The area that we want to look at is, what are the core values? What are the core values that we stand for as a country? What's actually important? The part that's getting missed is that people want to raise their children in peace. And it's frustrating on both sides. Very frustrating, because I've had conversations with people on all sides of this conflict. Understanding what somebody's long-term vision forward, the 20-year vision, the 50-year vision, the 700-year vision. This is the area that we want to aspire to, is to better understand through deep listening, through dialogue, through genuine conversation, who people are, what they believe, what carries us forward as success. Because there's a ton of people right now that are arguing, beating each other up, doing all sorts of things that aren't going to lead to success in a big way. And we want to have dialogue to better understand. So if there's any one thing I can suggest to you, go to the people you oppose, pick up the phone, have a conversation, and go in with the core goal of, hey, I want to understand your point of view first. You want to be able to repeat back what their point of view is, and not the first thing. Not the, hey, I want to get every illegal immigrant out of the country. The, hey, nobody's illegal on stolen ground. I want to understand, asking why multiple times. Hey, why do you believe that? Can you tell me more? Can you share what guided that perspective? Because I'm going to tell you, the people that support aggressive immigration enforcement have seen what happens to other communities when there's massive influxes, and they don't want to experience that for their children and their grandchildren. The people that don't want the violence in the streets and don't want the armed agents going around, they don't want the excesses that occurred in other countries in the past. Somewhere through having that dialogue, right? I'm not giving you the answer. I don't know what the answer is, humbly. But through having that dialogue on a consistent basis, we, collectively as Americans, can come up with the solution. And I challenge you, if you want to live with legendary excellence, go to the people you disagree with most and say, I want to be able to repeat back to you exactly what it is that motivates you. You have to take the emotional judgment out of it. You have to take the step back of maturity. And you want to sit there and you want to say, I'm going to repeat back to you what it is that you said. And you're going to validate or invalidate what I say. And we're going to keep working on it until it gets fixed. And then we're going to do the opposite. Because when you do that process, you actually understand what the real issue is. Because there's real hurt on both sides. I can say that the frustration about how prior administrations had handled these things is a major driver. And I'll say in history, when we look at, some of these great evils that have occurred, when you look at the specific policies that occurred prior to that great evil, whatever it was, there were specific policies, there was specific conduct that the population looked at what happened and said, yeah, this is a reasonable solution. I can't afford to live. Inflation's insane. I am around, a clear cultural degradation. That there's these things being accepted that aren't acceptable, and we don't talk about, evaluate, look at these aspects, and until people look at the entire picture, 360-degree view, historical and current, and genuinely analyze what's going on, we're stuck repeating the same patterns. And the same patterns are very scary. As being somebody that has friends that are younger, that are military age, that has friends from all sorts of different cultures, what concerns me is not what's happening in this moment. The issue is that we see this degradation of executive power, executive privilege. The people complaining about Trump right now didn't say anything when Obama drone striked an American citizen. Didn't say anything about ruling through executive privilege. Didn't say anything about mask mandates, about all the way that COVID was handled, about not being able to buy seeds in Michigan at large stores, about sexually oriented businesses being opened in California when churches were closed in that state during COVID. And there's this funny thing where they say, oh, well, it's totalitarianism. We need to have these conversations. We need to have these conversations at the individual neighborhood level, at the neighbor level, because you need to go to the people that you disagree with most, sit down, have the conversation. It's not going to be on Facebook. It's not going to be on social media. It's going to be in person. And you're going to be able to learn more about what concerns people have. And I'm going to say, you're going to find out that you probably have more in common about what your concerns are. Wanting to see our children thrive, wanting to see our grandchildren thrive, wanting to see our society be successful, wanting to be able to operate successfully. So with that, God bless you. I'm going to give you a nice view as a palate cleanser because I know I've been talking about it. Beautiful out here.